Okay guys, in this video we're going to sort of wrap up what we know about quadrilaterals. So in these two white quadrilaterals, I want you to just classify what these are. In these other orange quadrilaterals, we're going to use the information to solve a very basic problem, but basically you're going to have to know the properties of quadrilaterals to sort of understand what's happening there. So first, this classification. Okay, so I want to list all the types of shape that this is. So this is, sorry. So we have, this is obviously a quadrilateral. I should mention too that all quadrilaterals are also polygons. So polygons are a bigger set than quadrilaterals. So we have polygon, quadrilateral. We also have, looks like trapezoid. And we have isosceles trapezoid. Because the legs are congruent. Okay. Here, it looks like we're not given any information about the angles or the sides as far as congruence. But we are given information about the sides being parallel. So what this is then, it's going to be obviously a quadrilateral. And it is a parallelogram. Parallelogram. So, you know, this is just classifying, listing all the different types of shapes that are in these. Okay, here we want to find x. Okay, so we have to sort of step back and say, okay, how do we know that x is what it is? Okay, so let's look at this. First of all, we know this is a parallelogram. Okay, we know this is a parallelogram. Okay, so this is a parallelogram. All right. So if this is a parallelogram, and we have these two sides are congruent. So since these two sides are congruent and these two lines are parallel, so these two lines are parallel, these two sides are congruent, we know that this side must also be congruent to this side. So what that means is that x is going to equal 5. Okay? This is actually a special type of parallelogram. Again, this is a rhombus. Okay, so this would be, obviously it's a quadrilateral, it's a parallelogram, and it's a rhombus. Okay, so all of those shapes. Here we have the given information. We have a right angle, we have a quadrilateral, we have two opposite sides are congruent and parallel. So since these opposite sides are congruent and parallel, we know then that this side, these two sides must also be congruent. Okay, so these two sides are also congruent. All right. And we know if those two sides are congruent, and then these two sides are congruent and parallel, we know that these are also parallel. Okay. And we have one right angle in here. Okay. So we don't know, you know, for sure this is not a rhombus. A rhombus has all four sides being equal. So it might be a rhombus, but we don't know that for sure. It could be. Maybe, you know, we have some not to scale drawings here, so perhaps the sides are not to scale as well. But we can't say for certain with the information given that this is a rhombus. So what about our angles? We know this is one right angle. And since this is a parallelogram, we know that these two angles, well, yeah, since this is a parallelogram, any two angles that are next to each other must be supplementary. In other words, this plus this must equal 180. Okay, so these two must equal 180. So if this is 90, then x is going to equal 90 degrees as well. So in fact, this is 90, 90, 90, 90. This is going to be a rectangle, even though it doesn't, you know, of course, the drawing's not to scale. But sometimes, you know, you'll see a problem like this maybe on a test where drawings are not to scale, and you really have to understand your definitions and your understanding of quadrilaterals. So this is obviously a quadrilateral, it's a parallelogram, and it's a rectangle. Okay. Okay, down here we have, we for sure have a quadrilateral. It's for sure a rhombus, okay, because we see four sides are the same. Okay, congruent. What else do we know here? Well, we know if these are all congruent, that means it's a rhombus, okay, and all rhombi are parallelograms. So we know that all rhombi are parallelograms. So we know this must be a parallelogram. And if it's a parallelogram, we know that these two angles must be supplementary. So if these two angles are supplementary, then again, a 90-degree angle plus what angle equals 180? X again is going to equal 90 degrees. And we know that all of these will in fact be right angles. Okay, so this is in fact a square. So this is many, many things. It's a quadrilateral, it's a parallelogram, it's a rhombus, it's a rectangle, and it's a square. This is all five of those. So hopefully this helped you guys see the relationship between quadrilaterals, helped you develop and refine your understanding of the properties of quadrilaterals, and hopefully this gave you a little bit more confidence in doing that. Hope you guys learned a lot. Thanks for watching.